Bitcoin is doing something incredible, and we need to look and see what that is, because it could be setting up for the next massive opportunity, that big move to the upside, and we want to be ready for it should it come our way. And then also, what we're seeing with the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and also the Russell 2000 stocks. We'll take a look at those ETFs, because each one of them is showing some very interesting things, and also some things that we can use for prediction, if you will, in that technical analysis. As we look at each of those, that could help us with background market bias, informing us how we could set up our trades in the larger picture of things. And then also, we're going to talk about those best penny stocks to buy now. So I'm going to jump into them. We're going to kick things off with SPY. So taking a look at the SPY right here, what are we seeing? Some high wicks showing some selling pressure, some rejection off what we had over here with these lows, and that can give us some better idea of where to find that near-term resistance. We did close up above the 13 EMA, but we sold down below the 5 EMA on this one. So didn't overtake that yet, but still not horribly positioned right now. The RSI is still up over 50. Still reason to believe that the general direction is still up for the markets, with some concerns, with some hesitations. If we drop down to the hourly chart and show some of the technicals, you can see this trend line and that rejection that we got after just, what a great run from 672 all the way up to 680. That was a nice little recovery that we made. But as soon as we hit that trend line, we sold off again. We do want to hold on to that 200-hour EMA that we have on here. If we're able to push back up above that, that could be great. Even better if we can break this trend line, because that would show that structural break to the upside. And so then we could get more recovery coming out of the S&P 500 stocks, or that index that we have, according to what we have here for the SPY. If we go to the Qs, we have somewhat of a similar look, but you can notice the trend line up here is a little bit farther north. And where we found the peak here was actually this previous peak that we had near the market open yesterday, which coincides with these lows that we also had going back to the 31st of October and also into the 30th of October as well. So we had some resistance there before we hit that resistance, sold back off, but similar to what we have for the SPY, we're up above that 200 EMA, which is great. So we broke up above it. Now we're retesting it in the after hours. This could be that moment, allows us to push up. That number to get above is 627. So sit on top of this dotted line right across here. Even better if we can break up above the trend line. That gives us more room to the north. Moving over to IWM. This one, there we go, is looking a little bit more like the SPY, in that we have this very nice trend line that we were testing, broke above it, and then end up selling back down below it, reject, and then today breaking back up above it. So what can we contribute such a nice bounce to? Well, besides market movements in the background anyway, why does it have 4 times the performance of the S&P? Why does it have 2 times the performance, over 2 times the performance of the NASDAQ 100? And it's that touch on that 50 EMA. This is usually where you get that big bounce. And so that's what we saw today, was that outperforming bounce. The 5's down below the 13, which isn't great. However, we're still in overall bullish territory. We did get rejected for right now at the 13, which is to be expected, because after you test the floor, you go up and you test where the ceiling's at. So far, that 13 EMA is it. We do want to stay up above this trend line. So we might retest it, but as long as we stay above it, that could give us that room further to the upside. That there's that 200-hour that we happen to be below, whereas we were above it for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500. Check out that rejection that we got. As soon as we tried to break it, ceiling sent us back down. So now we know where the floor is for right now. It's this trend line. That ceiling is that 200-hour. Breaking up above that, it gives us more room to the north. Now, Bitcoin is helping us out. I talked about Bitcoin closing down below $100, $100, oh my goodness, $100,000 per BTC would be troublesome for us. Check out the buying pressure we got on this 4-hour chart with Bitcoin versus the US dollar. And man, as soon as we got down there, we got that contention, moving us back up above this 5 EMA and 13 EMA. So what are we seeing right now that's going to help us out? What's the massive thing about Bitcoin? It is currently in a descending wedge pattern, and this can be a bullish reversal pattern for us. So right now, selling off, settling. The bears are aggressively taking the north. However, the bulls are slowing down that descent. It's a slower descent by the bulls, and they can regain control. We're watching for a break above this top trend line. Now, about this other line that is coming back up through here, what is that about? That happens to be, let's go out to the weekly chart for a moment. That's that bull channel that we were in, and right now we tested that 50-week exponential moving average, and so far that support is upholding. If it does hold, then we want to watch for those weekly EMAs that are up above to the north of this thing. If we can get back inside this channel, just take a look at the last time that we fell outside of this channel. Man, did we have a rise pushing back up out of that, and then couldn't quite make it to the top before selling off a little bit. But there's that retest, the 50 EMA. Much like what we saw with IWM, you get a nice healthy bounce off of the moving averages like that one. If we go to the daily chart, the thing to be concerned about is that we have the 13 crossing down over the 200. Not great, but you can see the long bottom wicks that we have for that buying pressure around 100,000. Worse would be the 50 EMA crossing down over the 200. That would be considered a death cross, and that could signal that we could be in for a longer term sell from where we're at right now. I don't know that we have the environment for that to happen at the moment. 100,000 is pretty darn critical. You can see the last time that we touched it and the ride that we took from there. And then also over here, these previous peaks that we have, that was a lot of resistance with a few peekaboos along the way, showing us just how critical this was going to be. We were likely always going to get a bounce there. The main thing that you want to be aware of is that we need to make it back inside this bull channel. That's exactly what we're watching for. So it's a nice healthy bounce so far that we're getting 3 to 4% from what we saw. Well, yesterday's close, I guess it's only about 2 to 3% up from that. As we look at it, 2.19% is what the chart says. We do also want to get back up on top of that 200 EMA. The 200 SMA isn't too far to the north of that either. It's about 110,000. So our range between the EMA and SMA it's about $2,000 worth. 108, getting on top of that is massive. If we do, we'll probably clear 110 as well. So NVIDIA, I talked about how important this line was in my morning video, and I said we want to hold this line. Should be pretty good if we come down to 195. That's pretty much where we came down to today. We closed at 194. Let me see if it helps if I put my cursor on the right one. So 195.21 is where we closed this thing. And the peak, where did we have that peak at? That was at 195.62. So kind of sitting nice on that, gently on that. It doesn't mean the selling pressure is over, but we are still over on bullish territory for NVIDIA with a little bit of natural settling. And if I show some more of my technicals, you might see some more of that. There we go. Put up the Fibonacci extensions. There's that 211.50. I said watch for an initial rejection. We got rejected once, twice, and now we're selling off. It has to find that major floor. Where does that major floor exist? I'm going to keep reminding you, it's this trend line that we've been on going all the way back to May of 2025, and we broke up above that. Now, mind you, if we extend a little bit longer, we actually were below it, and I talked about how important it was to snap up above. I think 118 was that number, and as soon as we were able to actually solidly break up above 118, man, we were back off to the races, popping up over $200 per share, and then we get a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of de-risking. The massive support that we want to watch is down here, this 185 to 183. We hold on to those. Party on Wayne, party on Garth, for anybody who's old enough to get the Wayne's World reference, which is actually the second time that I've referenced Wayne's World today, as we were out in the hallway talking with our students, and we had some interrupting parade of students going through, and we were game off, and then cleared the road, and then game on, came back out, and kept on going. So that's another reference for Wayne's World when we're playing street hockey. In any case, back to the stock. So if we snap down below this trend line, and if we also lose these horizontals that we have here, if we lose that support, and we're probably looking more like 167 down below that. The market would absolutely hate that, by the way. So this is not a prediction. So I know I get the comments all the time. So you're going to say NVIDIA is going to fall down? No, I'm saying that if it did, the market probably wouldn't like it too much. Hold those two double lines. We're probably going to get a big old bounce off of that. That's bouncing. That's bullish opportunity that I'm talking about. That's if we happen to see it. I think it's going to go back up. That's a good thing. I think there's a possibility for it. And, we'll watch and see. Again, not a prediction, just what I'm watching for that next bounce opportunity for NVIDIA, especially if it continues south for now. If it travels too far south, instead of opportunity, it turns into the market turning itself into some fear and doubt sort of situation, and it could have a broader translation to the broader AI market, if you will. So that's something that I'm watching for. So it's the same idea as the Bitcoin breaking down below that $100,000 per BTC. That would be a snapping event, in my opinion. That crypto would have some sort of the fact that people would be de-risking from it, to me, would be like the sentiment that risk assets aren't where we want to be right now. And so that could affect things, especially like small caps and stuff like that. And NVIDIA is more like more of a broad market thing, and like S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, that could be more of a broad market sell. To see it push down, I want to talk about just the awareness of it in this video as we talk about it. So let's wrap things up with some penny stock talk on this. NVTS still continuing to settle, and I talked about this shelf that we have back over here that happens to be in the mid 9s, and we closed today at 986. We had a low price today at 962, and I wonder if we went to like a 4-hour chart, if we would see any sort of structure in there that we were sitting on top of. Pretty darn close, not quite. So is the sell over for this one? It doesn't look like the sell's necessarily over yet. It could be. We had a little bit of a touch back there going back to October the 10th. I wouldn't say that's substantial yet. We don't see any volume evidence yet. It looks like it might start rolling back the other way. That could be a good thing for us. But I would like to see a little bit more progress on the chart, a little bit more development to say that it's time to turn this thing around. I would love to see this around the mid 8s. I think that that's where we start to see a lot more support as we get down below these peaks and into a bit more of this chop that's down here. So like 825 to 850, I think it would be absolutely gorgeous for seeing an accumulation zone come back for Navitas Semiconductors. And I talk about the background market bias because if the market goes to the poo-poo, then NVTS, especially if NVIDIA leads it, NVTS is going to suffer probably outsized ways from that one, which then when we catch that next upswing, it's going to swing up in upsized ways. So that's why I'm tracking these on the way down. Don't want to be talking about them on the way up, and try to get people to be excited about it while it's up here. That I stopped talking about as much because like, oh, this is getting stretched. I don't know how long to hold on to something like this, and certainly enough, you get some of that profit taking. Same thing happened with ONDS, although I will say, when we talk about ONDS Holdings Incorporated, we're starting to see that rounded bottom look on this. We're also starting to see some more excited volumes come into this as well. I would keep a very close eye on this one. So yeah, we got that head and shoulders look. We got to be careful of that because if we snap down on this, and we can, if we snap down on this thing, well, we could actually move down pretty substantially from there. But once again, if that did happen, imagine this thing after this big exuberant run that it took, and after all the attention that it gets and how well it's positioned in its industry, it still is a penny stock, still profitless. But I think that would be such a wild opportunity that you could actually get that multiples back out of it on that next phase, that next run that you get. So be careful with the head and shoulders. This is also very interesting that we have here. If we end up losing that 564, you want to start watching out for things like 437 or even below that down to that 319. So not a prediction once again, just things to watch out for because it looks like left shoulder, head, right shoulder on this thing. And we absolutely want to be aware of those moments. I don't think it's a time for me to trade in a long way on ONDS, but it is one that I am looking at. So and ONDS is that ticker symbol for that one. RZLV, this one, there's that descending wedge pattern, and right now the volumes are sideways. Like, they're just low, they're subdued relative to what we had before. To me, with this tapering volume, we're still seeing that consolidation period, and we're even seeing less conviction movement here with the candles as well. That is just kind of like petering out, if you will. So we could break up above this. I think it is something exciting to watch for now. I think it could give us that wild upward movement sometime in the near future, putting it about 2.75% to 2.73 was the actual number today. So 2.75%, not a bad move. I'm definitely watching this one very closely as well. BigBear.ai, that number, I'm going to tell you, $6.35 is that number that we need to sit on top of. Right now we're butting up against this previous support, which I'm actually going to turn red now that we're down below it. We just got rejected today. That thing upheld. So this is now a red area for resistance rather than a green area for support. But let's take a moment to applaud the technicals on that. Look at BigBear.ai and the movement that it made. And these, if you guys have been following the channel, you know they've been here for months with these different rectangles that are on this. So we broke down through, pixel perfect there for losing that support that we had, sell off down to the next area of support. And now we're trying to find out, okay, the floor is here. Now let's test out that ceiling. If we're able to push back up above that 50 period on this hourly chart that we have, that 50 EMA, and it upholds as support, then we can try the 200. And so it looks like on here, I actually have that drawn up to 675. But if you look at where we have like this previous low over here, that happens to be at 640. And if we go over here, this is like 633. And that's why I talk about 635. We had trouble breaking over that before. But as soon as we were able to do that, that's where we were able to get more of this massive upside happening for us, and also where we found those mega bounces coming in as well. So Big Bear AI has its work cut out for it. Not a lot of news for Catalyst yet. We do have earnings coming up on Monday in the after hours of next week. So that's on the 10th. So that could be an exciting time. I'll be covering those earnings in some capacity. I did a deep dive for the last one, and I said, guys, they have a very big history of missing. And man, they missed. Then there was a lot of buying back for that, but it still did a little taper off for a little bit. And I'll give further commentary on that. This video is getting pretty long. I want to let you guys go. I'm going to go be with my family, and I hope you guys take some time to be with your family as well. And speaking about the YouTube family, I have a Discord family as well that Stock Mo and Mrs. Mo put together, and then I joined forces with them. There's a link for that down in the description. I'm one of the panel experts. Come on over, talk to me, talk to the panel experts, and also see the technicals, the other news that's out there, giving you support in your journey towards financial freedom and in building alpha in your portfolio, along with the tons of resources that are over there. So you have live lessons, you have live trading, you also, on top of that, you have AI tools, advanced charting tools. It's an entire ecosystem there, guys, and it's why I joined forces the way I did. It's something that I thought was top-notch, something that I wasn't able to recreate myself, and certainly not outdo, and it just, when you see perfection, you know what it is. And so I was happy that I got the offer, and I was happy to take that offer, and never look back from that time back in March. So guys, links in the description for the Discord. I believe the 3-day trials is still active, so go ahead and test it out risk-free. Cancel any time. It's a little bit over $2 a day for that earner tier, which gets you unrestricted access to everything. Let me know what you think of my commentary here for the charts as well. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. See you next video.